Joining us now from HoosiersConnect.com and Hoosiers for Good, the executive director, Tyler Harris. Of course, Colin Hartman, the vice president there with Hoosiers Connect. You guys got a lot going on, but how have you been, man?
Good. It was awesome to see the ladies stomp Iowa last night. That was fun to watch. But work-wise, it's going good. Staying busy.
Yeah, busy night at the Simon Scott Assembly Hall, man. It was an electric environment and just fun to see everybody celebrating. But a big-time game, a lot of attention focused on there in Bloomington last night from around the country. The game on Peacock and people watching that, of course. Caitlin Clark draws a lot of attention, but especially when she gets shut down and beat.
Yeah, we forced her to take a lot of shots, and she wasn't hitting them at a high clip. So that's a good recipe when you're playing them.
Great defense makes a difference, and you can see. I mean, whether it was Chloe Moore, McNeil, or whomever, they were covering her like a blanket, man.
Yeah, no, it was a great win for the women's program. It was awesome atmosphere, and I'm just happy for Terry and the women's basketball team. I mean, that they've come a long way over these past several years. It's just awesome to see them continue that competitiveness that they've got and that they've become to be known for over the past couple of years.
Absolutely. Indiana's official NIL collective, Hoosiers for Good, and this is a year-round job, man. It has become a year-round thing for you guys, something that you have to work on every day, and it is a gigantic part of all athletics, their budget, their athletics programs. It doesn't matter what school you're talking about. It has become one of the most important parts of each school program's athletics departments.
Yeah, it's growing. The attention that NIL is getting is continuously growing. And the factors that athletes looked at when they were determining to go to a school, stay at a school, etc., are all still there like they were in the past. There's just one additional component that may be at the highest, at the top of the list, which is what are my NIL opportunities at that school. So they still care about the academics, they still care about the coach and facilities, et cetera. But NIL has become an important factor in where a kid goes or if they're staying at a school, et cetera.
Yeah, and something that's just from an outside standpoint looking in, it doesn't matter what school, I don't care who you're talking about. I would like to see at some point, which I don't know that it'll ever happen, contracts, because players have gone from being kind of the most suppressed to the least suppressed. They have the most freedom. They can transfer at will. They can do pretty much anything at will, which I'm cool with, except for it really does prevent pro teams can gauge their rosters and all that because they know what they have, what they're going to have. Colleges right now, you got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a simple solution to all of that. The NCAA has decided they do not want to do that right now, and that is, you make student athlete employees, and they can be under contract, and whether that contract's 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, there's already a model on campus for student employees, and that corrects all of this easily. But it's not the amateurism model, which everybody has known to love about college athletics. And so I don't know. I mean, if they want to correct the problem, they can. It doesn't seem like the courts are ever really going to be ruling in their favor. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that with the NIL, with the transfer portal, there's a temporary injunction that's in place that allows student athletes to transfer all the time, which isn't good for anybody, I don't think. I don't think it's good for the student either. It just delays graduation. So what do I know?
Well, I know, especially because when you're that young, you grab at the brightest star And the brightest star is not always we learn in life, the brightest star is not always the best thing for you. And I'm with you. I just think that there has to be some kind of control. I'm not saying control like it used to be, but there has to be something there. So I'm assuming are you in favor of some type of student employee type of relationship from your standpoint of what you do for a living? Because I know that would probably be shared by others that are in your similar position.
I don't know if I'm for or against it. I just think it's the reality of where this is going. And the sooner we realize that reality and take steps to get to that point, the better. I don't see the point in delaying the inevitable and fighting this through the court system, continuous lobbying to Congress. To me, that just seems like a lot of wasted money, time, effort, and just get to the model that's going to be coming at some point. And that way, then you can start running athletic departments like businesses like they have been, but just call it what it is. And again, I think it's better for the students that you can tie them to a school under an employee model and require them to graduate from that school instead of where we're at right now with the transferring 5 times, and whatever you want to.
What would it entail of a student athlete being labeled as a quote unquote employee of a particular school?
Well, there's a lot of probably legal things that I don't know. But there's student workers on campus, right? At every campus across the country. And so there's kind of a model already. You have graduate assistants. And so there's kind of a model there. Now that will bring into the fold maybe unionization or collective bargaining with athletes about their work demands, et cetera. But I think there's a good model in place already that at least allows you to start the discussion and figuring out how it would actually work. If student athletes become employees, I don't think you'd operate under Title IX anymore. You'd operate like all employees, which is Title VII. And so there may be some good, there may be some bad that comes out of it, but it's just kind of where we're going. And so the sooner they can figure this out, I think the better, because I just really don't think it's great for anybody, the way the current model's working.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Because it cannot be fun for fans because they have no idea, much less the coach, which is even further along. But you have no idea. Indiana fans, for example, they have no idea what their men's basketball team is going to look like next year. Zero, because I have no idea. I don't think Mike Whitson has an idea because you don't know who might or might not transfer out. There's just so many things that go with that when it's just not, like you said, it's not good for anybody. I don't know who it benefits except maybe individually certain people, but in the long run, I'm not sure that it benefits them in the long run.
No, I agree. And I love the, the college model. There is something to be said about, we're the only country in the world that has this model, and there's something worth preserving, but kind of where we're at right now, I just don't think it's really healthy for the schools, for the athletes, for really anybody. And the sooner they can figure out the best path forward, and control their own destiny as opposed to letting other people control it, probably the better, because they're the ones that are in it day to day, the practitioners of it. And you don't want people who are not in the day to day deciding the fate of college athletics.
Absolutely. I know that you guys have had some or a particular special thing come out here of late. I'm not sure what to call it. It's kind of is that a first in the country? I mean, I obviously don't follow every single NIL from around the United States, but I don't recall seeing anything like this. Is this a first to your knowledge?
There's been some others around the country that have done it. And the difference with us is, we wanted to be different and not just partner with some distillery that had just just had vodka ready and rinse and repeat labels and put it out on shelves. That's not what we want to do. We wanted to be different. We wanted to do it with Indiana families, people who care about Indiana, because that tells a better story. It makes it more special. And so earlier this week, we announced the release of Hoosiers Connect vodka, and 25% of the proceeds from that are going to support NIL opportunities to IU athletes. And so we think it's going to be really great. But not a first of its kind, just unique in that it's supported by Indiana families.
And I know that where that will be available, how you can get all that, that'll be coming out soon. You worked in conjunction with Starlight Distillery, which is in essence the Huber Orchard and Winery folks down in Southern Indiana, down in Starlight, that many of you know from the event that goes on each year there that has happened for over 30 years down at Starlight. So obviously that was a great partnership and easy to make for you guys.
Yeah, and they're just an unbelievable family, and they care about IU, and they want to help in all their ways, and so we saw this creative opportunity as a way to do that, and we're gonna have some more things with them come out in the future, because they care about helping, and I think there was an awesome excitement related to this release that got everybody excited to continue discussing other opportunities in the future with them.
Absolutely. What about working with, I'm looking at one of the comments, which I don't know that this is true. Was Mick Foley really at Simon Scott Assembly Hall last night? Or is that a joke?
I saw a picture of him. So I think he was. I did not end up going. I had my son and daughter's basketball game that I had to go to, but I saw pictures of him floating around social media that he was there.
That's crazy. What the hell is the connection between Mick Foley and Indiana women's basketball or Indiana University, period? I've never heard of one up till now.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just hope he's not an Iowa fan.
Victor Oladipo was in the house. I did see that. So very, very cool to see him out there amongst the crowd. But it's just events like that. How important is that? Because that is such a national audience, especially when you do well, but to not just have a game like that, a performance like that, having people there in attendance like that, all of that stuff is free advertising for the school, which in turn I would think you guys would try to use to your benefit as well.
Yeah, we're certainly limited, with the NIL rules that are currently in place on some things, but we have gotten creative to continue to broaden the awareness of our organizations and the way to support. But yeah, make no mistake, last night was a huge win, but huge audience exposure for IU, and effectively, hopefully, trickles down to us. And it's just great to see IU at that stage in women's basketball. They've come so far, and how Terry's just kept them at the top has just been amazing.
9 consecutive 20-win seasons for them. So, yeah, that's a model of consistency as they look to go into yet another NCAA tournament at this year. And right now, tied for, I think, just a game off of Ohio State, which is number 2 in the country, for a second in the Big Ten Conference. So congratulations to them. During the summer, once we get past the things that are going on, you guys kind of go into a different mode. What happens during the off-season time for you guys at Hoosiers for Good?
Well, Jim, I wish there was an off season. It seems like it's always on season.
I know the feeling, brother.
But we go event heavy after school gets out. The athletes have a lot more time, and it just works well because it pairs with a lot of events that we have, and so we'll have again a Huber event down in Southern Indiana at their place, which is just always drawn massive attendance. And then we'll have our golf outing down in French Lick. We're going to have a golf outing down in Evansville. And then we'll have a lot of charity events that these athletes will be at, and continuously promoting their charitable partner. And then the unknown is with this vodka, we're going to do some cool creative events and hopefully something around Little Five in the spring game and some other things throughout the year, but event heavy for sure.
I was talking about the irony of college athletics now, how back it wasn't that long ago that the mere mention of alcohol and gambling or betting and all that stuff was, oh my gosh, it was so can't talk about that. And now it's such an accepted part of the lexicon. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's where we are as a society, right? I tend to think it's similar to NIL. It's early on in NIL or before, no one ever thought that college athletics would be here and student athletes making money off themselves off the court wasn't really a thought until the reality is the courts force their hands, and it's just become the norm now. And I think it's similar in the alcohol space, for example. Schools started introducing alcohol into the venues, and that's become a driver of revenue for them, and it's
big driver of revenue.
A big driver of revenue. And for us, it's really no different. Just another way to get creative in fundraising, to provide other opportunities. Because, you go to a tailgate, people are going to drink regardless. And if they can drink and support the school they care about at the same time, it really seems like a win-win. Obviously support responsibly, but that's kind of where society is right now.
I just got Pete, a good friend of the show, said that Mick Foley was born in Bloomington.
Wow.
I had no idea. I was this many days old. I was today years old when I found out Mick Foley was born in Bloomington. I know David Lee Roth was born in Bloomington. Just the crazy things that you learn. Mankind may have to get him involved somehow.
Yeah.
The IU wrestling program has gone from not being unmentionable to very uber competitive and probably the toughest wrestling league in the country.
Yeah. Angel's been doing a great job over there. And yeah, they've become to where they're a very, very competitive team now, which is just really exciting. You see baseball this year, you see softball. I mean, we're doing well. We just still got to figure out basketball. Football is, I think, well on their way to being I think they should be really good next year, and I think SIG will do a great job with that program.
I'm glad you brought up football, because the level of excitement that I see from a reporter outside looking in, I was like, wow, I've never seen it to this level. I went to school at IU, and I was there during the Bill Mallory era when they were competitive, but the level of excitement is at a level I've never seen. And I know that you guys want to cash in. Shouldn't say cash in on that, but that's something that hasn't happened before. It's something that has to happen though, because football, as we all know, is the engine that drives the financial train in college athletics. And having a solid and competitive football program is of uber importance. How important is it? Have you guys seen that this elevated level of from the fans has that been?
It's been it's the excitement of football since maybe even a little bit before SIG was hired. At least on our end, it's gone through the roof, which has allowed us to really support the football program and SIG and do everything that we can and try to be a component and a supporter of what he wants to do, right? And so it's the from a fundraising standpoint, it's gone through the roof, and it has allowed us to support the program like we never have. And again, we're make no mistake, it's SIG running the show. He's doing all these great things. We just are a very small component of supporting him.
And when you have a program that obviously is getting more support, more fan support, as IU has struggled with that in football, but I think that for one thing, I've never seen a schedule more perfectly set up for a new coach than this upcoming schedule for Kurt Cignetti and Indiana football. How important is that going to be in the efforts of what you guys are doing next year?
Well, I think it's super important for us because what do we got? 8 home games.
Yeah.
I think 8 home games. And so, for us continuing to share our message and getting people aware of what we're doing and how we're supporting the programs, that's tremendous for us, having more home games. Obviously, it's great for the school, and if they're winning, and that results in additional ticket sales, food sales, beer sales, etc. And so can be great for the school. And so hopefully they're the schedule, like you mentioned, is lined up perfectly for Sig, and I think he's going to get it done. I really do. But for us, getting awareness out there, if we have 40,000, 50,000 at each home game, and they see what we're doing and the component we play, I think it continues to grow the sport of football at Indiana.